Welcome to the Explainer. Look, if you're a parent or a caregiver, you probably know the exact feeling I'm talking about. That tight knot in your stomach as you walk up to the school or daycare doors. Early years drop-offs, they can be absolutely incredibly stressful. We're talking tears, clinging, and that awful lingering guilt as you finally walk away. But you know, it doesn't actually have to be this way. Today, we're going to take a deep breath together. We're going to carefully walk through some fantastic strategies to turn those tears into triumphs and make sure that both you and your little one feel completely secure.
So, let's just dive right into the biggest question. How do we make goodbyes easier? It's literally the central question every single caregiver asks when navigating separation anxiety. In this explainer, we're going to map out a really clear, predictable routine. Our goal is to completely transform what is usually a super anxiety-inducing transition into a peaceful, step-by-step process you can rely on every single day. Because honestly, when we talk about drop-offs, the biggest mistake is thinking the transition only happens at the classroom door.
Here's how we're going to break it all down today. First, setting the stage. Second, gentle evening preparation. Third, a calm morning routine. Fourth, the confident drop-off. And finally, building lasting trust.
Okay, part 1. Setting the stage. This is really a chronological journey.
Moving right into Section 2, gentle evening preparation. This is all about building the foundation. See, by taking control of the transition timeline well before the actual morning, you empower yourself as a parent. And even more importantly, you inherently soothe your child before any panic even has a chance to set in. Based on the source material, there are 3 highly effective, totally practical steps you can take the night before. You want to talk ahead, read books, and pack comfort items. These proactive actions are just brilliant because they build this essential predictability before the morning rush, or, the morning protests even begin. Let's look a bit closer at each of these.
First up is talking ahead. Basically, just simply tell your child what's going to happen the night before. What's really fascinating here is how it taps into a kid's need for time. Kids just don't process transitions as quickly as we adults do. So, by communicating clearly in advance, you're actually giving them the time they need to cognitively process the upcoming separation. You're planting a very gentle seed of expectation.
The next step is reading books. Sharing simple stories about going to school is an incredibly powerful tool. It basically takes the big, scary unknown and makes it familiar. Child psychologists point out all the time that seeing a fictional character overcome a fear kind of acts as a proxy for the child's own bravery. When your child sees characters in a book going through a normal school drop-off, it completely normalizes the experience for them. It makes the whole concept significantly less intimidating because, well, they see it's just a totally normal part of life.
And our third evening step is packing comfort items. I want you to imagine your kid in the middle of their school day, maybe feeling just a little bit unsure. Now picture them reaching into their backpack and finding a small family photo or a really familiar object from home. It acts as this tiny anchor. That familiar object powerfully bridges the gap between home and school. Just one quick thing to remember, as our source notes, you definitely want to check and make sure you only do this if the school actually allows it.
All right, Section 3, a calm morning routine. This is where we are setting the emotional tone. So, now the sun is up. It is absolutely vital to remember here that your own emotional state acts like a mirror. It directly influences how your child feels as they wake up and start their day. Basically, if you're frantic, they're going to be frantic. If you're calm, they'll feel safe, which actually brings us to this really profound quote from the source text. Keep your voice calm and happy about their day. The absolutely crucial point here is deliberate projection. Even if you're feeling total internal stress about getting to work on time, or maybe you're dreading a difficult goodbye, you literally must deliberately project positivity and calmness. Your voice is their ultimate gauge for safety.
And there's a really stark contrast between arriving early versus rushing and feeling stressed. Our source explicitly points out that rushing makes both of you feel stressed out. A hurried pace immediately spikes anxiety. It creates this frantic energy that just makes a child want to cling to you even tighter. But by simply arriving early, you give both yourself and your child the breathing room you need to actually keep the peace.
Now, as you move through that calm morning, you really want to implement a special goodbye. Invent a quick handshake, maybe give a special high five, or even say a special phrase that's unique just to the two of you. And this isn't just for fun, right? It acts as a consistent, comforting signal to your child. It's a physical or verbal cue that essentially means, hey, a temporary separation is starting, but it's also a guaranteed reunion later.
Moving to Section 4, the confident drop-off. This is it, the moment of separation.
We have finally arrived at the climax of our timeline, the classroom door itself.
So compare saying a quick goodbye versus drawing it out. Look, it's completely natural to want to stay and comfort a crying child. Of course it is. But surprisingly, lingering actually increases their worry. A short, really clean goodbye communicates confidence to your child that, yes, this is a very safe place for them to be.
Never sneak away. This is an absolute golden rule. Sometimes, when a child is distracted, you might think it's just easier to slip out the back door and avoid the tears altogether. But our source is incredibly adamant about this. Sneaking away completely breaks trust and leaves your child feeling significantly less secure. When they suddenly realize you vanished without a word, it creates this lingering, heavy anxiety that you might just disappear again at any moment.
And that brings us to Section 5, Building Lasting Trust, the final handoff.
So we've managed the evening, we've managed the morning pace, and we've kept the goodbye short and honest. Now, how do we actually physically exit the space while ensuring a secure transition? The source lays out 3 definitive actions to execute this handoff securely. First, give your child to the teacher with a really confident smile. Remember, your face tells them everything is okay. Second, clearly say you love them. And third, and honestly perhaps the most important part of the whole shebang, walk away. Literally, do not hesitate. Executing this handoff definitively and smoothly reinforces absolute trust and stability for your child's entire day.
We've journeyed all the way from the night before right up to the moment you walk out that classroom door. So I want to leave you with this final thought. If a quick goodbye and a predictable routine build lasting trust, how are you going to change your drop-off tomorrow? I really encourage you to reflect on this chronological timeline. Take these gentle transition steps and apply them with absolute confidence. You definitely have the tools to make tomorrow morning peaceful. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, good luck with tomorrow's drop-off.